4, 3, 2, 1.
Throb will not be seen today.
The following is a special presentation.
In the last episode of
Saturday
morning,
breakfast.
Surreal.
the baby who has trouble sleeping, Bert,
Responsible for the planning and execution
because he's sick, he could get help with the baby.
to install materiel. In this case, a Bailey bridge.
Chester told Jessica at the cemetery, went to the doctor, fools around with other women. Danny met a girl named Polly who might help him with the baby who has trouble sleeping and needs help for a physical, hoping that might help. Mary's Joe convinced me to move back home, and that way, who might help him with the baby who has trouble sleeping and needs help for a physical, hoping that might help. Confused? You won't be after this episode of
Saturday
Morning.
breakfast.
Surreal.
Brought to you by the wonderful world of Kenner.
In a land where lizards and sandflies are the only living things, a tent city now stands. After deplaning, the troops line up, check personal equipment, and prepare to enter buses which will take them to camp execution. Orientation lectures are given on the effects of an atomic
butt welding.
In addition, the men are thoroughly drilled in the
Butt welding. Lubricants are very important.
military police, truck drivers, evaluators, and observers are thoroughly drilled in the
Butt welding. Lubricants are very important.
An understandable concern is usually expressed by troops about the dangers of entering an
Butt welding.
blasted zone,
Lubrication is critical.
in
Butt welding.
like the one which the men will see.
Lubricants are very important.
A welcome break from the desert heat finds the men moved in and ready for the
Butt welding.
filled days ahead. Later, evaluators will inspect the
Butt welding.
to see if it was affected by the bomb. On D-1, 2 film badges are issued to each man of the BCT. These are used to measure cumulative
Lubrication.
General Mark Clark, Lieutenant General Swing, and Major General Keene, together with other observers, are present to witness the blast of the
Butt welding.
which will be dropped from a high-flying aircraft.
I understand you're the acting first sergeant of your company.
Yes, sir, that's right.
How many of your men do you think would volunteer to go up and be in one of those?
Butt welding.
Oh, I'd volunteer, I guess, for about a half a dozen.
At least half a dozen.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's
Lubricants are very important.
when it goes off. Do you think it would do you any harm?
No, I don't think the noise would, sir, no. We received a very thorough briefing before we even came in this close to contact with it.
You feel that those instructions have given you confidence in your ability
Very much
to
so, very
protect
much.
yourself?
Yes, sir.
How about the exercise you're going through up there? Is that something you think the men will go through with all right?
Yes, sir, I think they'll do very well in it. They're mentally ready for it. They're eager and ready to go.
Good. Well, we're glad to have you here.
Post-blast interviews are conducted.
Sergeant Gutierrez, you've seen a lot of action. Tell us just exactly how this thing looked to you. Tell us about it. How did it look?
Well, my point of view, I think it's a terrific.
Would you like to be any closer to it than you were?
If I did, sir, I think I'd dig the hole a little deeper.
Sergeant Brewster, can you tell us whether you think that the orientation you had for this one prepared you for what you saw out here?
Yes, sir, it did.
How about the fear that you felt? Did they prepare you against that?
Yes, sir, they did. They told us enough so that, well, our fear was cut down so much more than it was before the orientation that we hardly had any fear at all.
Would you have confidence that you'd be able to go right in there now and carry out your tactical mission a few minutes after the blast?
Yes.
How close do you think, now that you've seen it, you'd be willing to be?
Well, sir, I'll tell you that after I see them positions up there.
Did you feel now, after it's all over, that you've had a big letdown, that there's any disappointment in this?
Butt welding.
No, sir, there's no disappointment.
No disappointment?
It's certainly a part.
Butt welding.
And I can't understand how anything so beautiful can be so destructive.
And there's a surprise prize inside.
Annoying. Itchy.
Saturday
Morning.
breakfast.
Surreal.
Was videotaped before a studio audience.
And I can't understand how anything so beautiful can be so destructive.
All this and much more in future episodes of
Saturday
Morning.
breakfast.
Surreal.
This concludes another day of outstanding television programming on
Saturday
Morning.
breakfast.
Surreal.
We now leave the air and wish you a pleasant good morning.
Throb, throb, throb.